You're listening to 17 Carat K-Pop. For more about this show, as well as my other podcast, How to Stan, visit 17caratkpop.weebly.com. There you'll find episode guides, as well as additional reading, more exclusive content, tons of great stuff. And never miss an update, an album review, interview, etc. by subscribing to the free newsletter, howtostan.substack.com. You could also become a paying subscriber on Substack, and that means you're supporting an independent creator and become part of a community, howtostan.substack.com. Enjoy the show! Welcome back to 17 Carat K-Pop. Quick PSA before we get started. I put out a lot of writing last month. If you are a community member, even more. But there are also a lot of free things you can check out on my site. My new Uptension interview, Woo-Ah interview, my recap of the SM Town New Year's Eve concert, a big episode guide piece that links to every episode I dropped last month, my best of January and best of December pieces, probably more that I'm forgetting, and a PSA about my first big giveaway. And I have more down the pipeline if this one is really big. So please help spread the word, even if you don't want to enter. If you know K-pop fans in the Chicago area or coming sometime in March to the Chicago area, please alert them to this contest. Quote tweet it, share it to Insta stories. Please help spread the word. Because if you do this time, I may give you an extra entry in future autograph giveaways and things like that. Please don't let this flop. Please check out the giveaway. It's for Grooveland Records artist Spring Tour. I have the chance, thanks to Studio PAV, to give away 2 T5 tickets to the Chicago tour stop, so you can see the whole Grooveland tour for free. Ravi, Cold Bay, NAFLA, and Zydo. You have until February 25th if you want to enter to go to the show for free. All of the giveaway details you can see now on the show's Twitter and Instagram. At Twitter, it's at K-Pop Carat. At Instagram, it is 17 Carat K-Pop. And you can enter through both giveaways if you want to double your entries. If you are not on Twitter or Instagram, or just don't want to enter the giveaway through there, you can still participate. Just send me the info. I'm asking people to DM me for the contest. Just send that stuff to me. Send it to the email address that sends you my newsletter. See howtostan.substack.com in your inbox, and then reply to that. Whichever platform you enter on, you just need to send me a screenshot, photo proof you subscribe to this podcast on any platform, doesn't matter which, and sign up for the newsletter. That's it. Subscribe, sign up for the free newsletter. Yes, the free option still counts towards your entry. Subscribe, sign up, prove it to me. Would also love to just freak out with you over Grooveland artists, so if you want to start that conversation in your entry, you are more than welcome to. Let me know if you have more questions. If you want, you can also put your questions about the giveaway in the question feature on this episode in the Spotify version. Really excited for this opportunity. Please help me spread the word. Let's talk about Seven Fates Chaco. We left off talking about Zeha learning he is half tiger because of who his parents are, and that they basically broke that seal that split up the two worlds, the world of these tigers and the quote-unquote normal world. And some of this insight was brought to him by Haru, the rock who turned into a person. There's a lot more we went into in an episode from a week or two ago called Seven Fates Destiny. Episode 2 and 3 have since come out, and actually probably a 4th by the time this episode drops, which we will get to next time. But episode 2 starts with Zeha heading back to that mountain, and his memories start coming back to him. He sees a figure at the mountain, not Haru this time, different person there, who tries to get him to focus and remember something. The two lock eyes, and there's this moment where both of their eyes seem to glow in response to each other, and suddenly memories do flash back to Zeha. He recalls that this mysterious figure was his dad's friend, who he spent time with as a young boy with his parents. This guy's from Zeha's childhood. This mystery man says Zeha's dad used to take Zeha to this mountain, sing to him there, and that his dad was a member of the Bohm tribe, who lived on the other side of that mountain. He learns more about his parents' past, that his mom was this shaman, this gatekeeper, and this seal protector, which is how she was able to kind of sneak around, bend the rules, be with his dad. She would open the passageway by singing the gate game song. The gate game song is what she used to unleash the Bohm, basically. That allowed Zeha's dad to enter the real world, after his fellow Bohm were sucked back into the alternate world after that fateful day every year, the 16th. Zeha's response left me with a lot of questions. So he asks if he can hear this gate game song. He does, and is briefly comforted by the song, the happy memories that come to him, that memory he flashes back to of sitting in his dad's lap as his dad sings to him. And then, of course, this song triggered the gate opening up. The seal is broken, and tigers emerge now in real time. What confused me about this scene is it's unclear if Zeha is just super ignorant and had a really dumb moment where he just totally forgot what the result was. You know, as he was flashing back to memories of being a little kid, it would make sense he was thinking like a little kid and not thinking long term. Just thinking, I want to hear the song now, can you sing it for me? And not, oh wait, what does that song do? It's like if a little kid heard the story of Beetlejuice. They probably would say Beetlejuice 3 times, or ask you to, and then forget, oh wait, you just said, here's what happens when you do that. There are consequences to it. So it's unclear if he was just ignorant in that moment, or if he genuinely wanted the seal to be broken. Maybe subconsciously he wanted that. Really wanted to see if that would trigger even more memories for him, or heck, even show his parents were still alive, just on the other side. So this guy who sang the song is feeling vindicated and says, quote, 4,000 years ago, a damned mutt like you locked me up. As the shaman's blood flows in you, you will be able to shut the gate again, so I'd better kill you. We shall resume this war that we left unfinished 4,000 years ago, unquote. Then Zeha is slashed by this mystery man and his previously kind of hidden long talons. Zeha realizes in this moment this is Hoopo, the man who killed his parents. You may be wondering, why did this guy feel like he couldn't sing the song on his own and get the gate to open without Zeha prompting him? Good question. Maybe more clarity we'll get later on. Maybe you have to also be in the presence of a particular person or tribe member or something. Once Zeha lets it sink in that this is his parents' killer, he has this permanent sense of abandonment and loneliness he starts narrating about. And he has this long emotional narration about how graduations and other special events are tainted for him because all the people around him are looking really happy, surrounded by family, and no one was there for him. And he talks about how he dealt with that, not by crying a lot, but by kind of forgetting how to cry, just hiding away all that emotion and growing numb, desensitized, he thought, so he would no longer be affected by the current onslaught of seeing happy families together. But then Zeha says, quote, just like that, my parents became dead to me. Or so I thought. When Haru laid his cold hand on my shoulder, the emotions I'd hidden deep down burst open. Haru says, quote, I know how you feel. I know it all. You have been through a lot. Everything has been taken away from you. Your parents, even your memories about them. It must have been painful. All of your suffering was caused by the visitors who came over that day. Let's go, my dear child. Let us hunt the bome. Unquote. Notable here is that after Haru says the line about that's when your suffering started, Zeha is pictured crying, presumably for the first time since this tragedy. Some sort of dam of tears was let loose in him with Haru's prompting. And Haru didn't have tons of prompting, which makes for a really thought-provoking aspect of the story. That sometimes for people to really open up, feel emotionally available, it doesn't take much. It just takes being there and prompting them a tiny bit. Emotional stuff aside, episode 3 is much more action-packed. So many action scenes. And it starts out with this chairman announcing a 50 million won award for anyone who brings the head of a bome they cut. Bring back the head to prove it, and you get this award that equates to around $41,900, which is, for a lot of the people who hear this announcement, too low of an amount to risk their lives for this. But almost Squid Game-ish, there's this commentary here about how some people are not making that much anyway, or just scraping by, and so to them, the stuff that to people who are more well-off feels ridiculous, like why would you risk it for that? To the less fortunate in society, it does seem worth it, anything for that money. So there's an interesting conflict of opinions here. One girl's walking down the street, gets a phone notification about more of these slangs that have been happening, and then a tiger shows up to lunge at her as she reads that. But she stays alive. Zeha pointed a gun at this tiger and basically stunned it. The tiger's not dead yet, but the tiger goes on to attack Zeha, probably extra aggressively in the name of retaliation. Zeha is overwhelmed, injured, his gun is overpowered, and he's wondering why. Was he just overconfident? If Zeha is half tiger, how could he feel so weak and perform this poorly against a tiger? Haru tells him, actually, that was one of the lower risk, the less dangerous ones to deal with. So you've seen nothing yet. So Zeha is further blown away, like, how am I that bad at this? Haru offers to train Zeha, to become his mentor, teach him how to fight back. And so Zeha's like, wait, what? If you know how to fight really well, why didn't you intervene earlier? Why didn't you jump to my defense? I assumed you didn't because you suck at this. And Haru said basically that he was testing his skill, wanted to see what Zeha was capable of on his own. Not making me think highly of Haru. It turns out actually, the green arrow that ended up hitting this tiger came from a group called Tiger Butterfly Team 1, who are out for this prize money to get that tiger head. So this team is this group of fighters who targeted that bone from the top of a building. They take the head and start walking away, then a scuffle ensues, to put it mildly, because Zeha's yelling at them, saying, hey, I got that head, that's not yours, you don't deserve the prize money, you're thieves. But then they retaliate, they beat Zeha up, call him weak, say don't mess with us. Haru once again just sort of takes it in and does not intervene, what the heck? The last image of episode 3 ends with the tiger still looking bloody and in the process of hunting people down. Not this one is dead and beheaded, but another tiger on the move. The stats by the end of the episode show that over the course of this 1 month now, the seal has been broken. Over 2,200 people have died because of these attacks. Over 1,400 people are missing. Very much to be continued, danger not over yet, but Haru might be redeeming himself in my mind character-wise if he does help Zeha train in the next episode. We shall see. Let's pivot our BTS discussion to more content from them. At the end of 2021, they had this really interesting set of individual GQ magazine interviews that I have not talked about yet on the show. I just never found the time to fit it into an episode, so let's do it now while we're talking about BTS. There are a lot of interesting, thought-provoking quotes they said in the interview, but first just some fun, notable details they mentioned. V opened up about how when he recorded a demo for the Coldplay collab, start to finish by himself, they called him the second Chris Martin. I love picturing the smile on his face at that compliment. RM opened up about one day wanting to live in the countryside, taking life at a slower pace, and how he also just wants to be known for projects outside of BTS too. I've noticed that basically, since Jungkook is providing the vocals for the Seven Fates Chaco OST, he's basically giving us a solo mixtape, in a way. His long-awaited mixtape, and this may be related, maybe not, but he did say he's become more of a reader the past year or so, and has been using books for lyric writing inspiration. So maybe some more literary references will end up in his work, or the voice that brings to mind certain authors. Cue the BT Study Guide series bonus content. Speaking of books, J-Hope said he would call his memoir, or he would start it off by saying, Those Who Guided Me. And I think that's a really cool name to pick for your memoir, Those Who Guided Me. This means nothing to me, but I've heard it means a lot to some people who are into this type of thing. V talked about that MBTI personality test, and that it used to be E, but recently became I, and so he thought that was odd because they're polar opposites. So people who are into that personality test, discuss. Suga opened up about how the schedule for making August D2 was quite tight in terms of recording and editing. He had started brainstorming right after August D1 came out, but the actual physical making of the ideas was just a few months of 2020. He said his favorite song off of August D2 is People because it's kind of a record of 4 years of his life. Presumably he meant the 4 years between August D1 and 2. I also just want to shout out that they wore full Louis Vuitton for this. That's a flex. There are some deeper quotes they mentioned in this piece as well that I might write about actually for the site just because there's so much there. But they really had a refreshing outlook on rest and recuperating and the need for not traveling at 100 miles an hour in life, but stopping to enjoy each moment. In their separate interviews, interestingly, they answered certain questions the same, made certain comments the same about learning to find joy in little things. just got me thinking about how, when you are so famous, there are ways that you realize what you took for granted as a non-famous person. And it's kind of a lesson for everyone is if you aren't appreciating the little things every day, maybe stop and think, hey, what if I become famous tonight? That would be taken away from me. Then maybe you have more appreciation for it. Jungkook said, quote, "We did our best with every album on every stage. Nobody can be perfect, but I've been able to enjoy it because I do everything that's required of me. That's why I can accept an occasional poor result." RM, as always, hit a couple of quotes that I've been thinking a lot about lately about intent. Quote, "At first glance, it might seem like I've changed naturally, but on closer inspection, it's something I've intentionally shaped. I went through painful periods, but looking back, it feels natural." Separately, he said, quote, "We humans harm our planet through our very existence because we waste resources and emit carbon dioxide. I believe that everyone is born for a reason. I hope that every activity I engage in leaves behind something meaningful, doing more than just making up for the harm that's been done to the planet. It's about doing at least 110%. Great way to put in perspective the phrase, leave it cleaner than you found it, leave it better than you found it, etc. Lastly, he said, quote, "Representing one's country can feel wonderful and can also be a burden. What's certain is that it's not something we seek out, and it's unlikely to go away because we want it to. I think it's my destiny to accept it as a calling and do what I'm good at. In other words, my life may come with responsibilities, but this kind of life can be fun, and I intend to keep on living with this attitude." One more BTS thing I want to talk about. The tasteless joke on Jimmy Kimmel's show. The long and short of it is that he had this joke about boy bands. He didn't say BTS's name, but the way he worded it made people think the global sensation he was comparing COVID to was BTS. And so fans really came at him for that. First of all, obviously those comments are so old and tired. If it can ever be interpreted as xenophobic, that should make you pause a little and think, what am I doing? I will say, honestly, my main reaction to this was not anger, some of that of course, but mostly confusion. Because I legit do not understand the premise of the joke. I just don't understand what the writers were thinking. He was talking about how COVID variants, there's another and another and another, and it's like boy bands, how there's another and another and another. So the joke is that they're similar because with time, more come up. A virus mutation is like pop culture because mutations are like new versions of old classics, sequels and stuff. That's just me trying to interpret this. That's not even really what he was saying though, because it was just about bands specifically, not other pop culture. So is he saying that boy bands are just tweaked versions of each other? Like virus mutations are all the same virus? I legit just do not understand this joke. Now, how hurtful or offensive it was, not my place to say, and if people who have been the targets of anti-Asian harassment during the pandemic say it's offensive, then it's offensive, so... But also, I'm just saying on a technical level too, it's just a bad joke. There's no, if you think it through, see, this is when it comes in handy to be an analytical thinker, because I like to overanalyze stuff, and when I do, some people's comedy routines and monologues just fall so flat because there's just nothing there. They're like half-baked, and I'm like, wait, so you meant this? And when I stop to ask that question, I'm like, did the writer stop to ask this question? Or did they just say, yeah, the audience can make the connections for themselves? The joke basically ends where he's like, it's also like boy bands because one day we'll have a super variant to deal with that just takes over the world. That's a line that people thought was nodding to BTS as comparing them to a virus taking over the world. Terms like the One Direction infection, the Bieber fever, all this weird patronizing terminology for interest in boy bands will never not baffle me. But speaking of COVID, let's get to that news. Omicron has hit South Korea. Case numbers are really concerningly rising, and people are getting it just in the hospital because COVID patients are there too. So Jimin went to the hospital for acute appendicitis and surgery and got COVID while he was there. So many K-pop stars have gotten COVID. The past week, it has been overwhelming to keep track of, but here's my best attempt to. So as of recording time, the latest is that the people who have recently caught COVID include 5 members of The Boys, 4 members of Treasure, 5 members of iKON, Hoon from Winner, Yubin from Oh My Girl, Bae Jin-yeon from CIX, 4 members of Kepler, Hyolyn, Kwon Eunbi, Yuna from Brave Girls, Lee Jae-hee from Weekly, Seyun from Is9, 3 members of WeI, Eun-hyuk, Viviz, the 3 G-Friend members who formed their new group together, Kim Jae-hwan, 4 members of Drippin, and Jui from Momoland. Meanwhile, Chani and Huiyeon were both booked. They were part of a group of 15 people who were out drinking at 1 a.m., Apparently, the COVID rules require those types of places to not serve drinks after 9 p.m. to discourage lingering around in those places. This was out January 18th. The report officially came out the 27th about this, once they had been booked for violating COVID protocols. FNC Entertainment did issue a statement expressing their remorse and apologies. In better health news, Lim Yeon-woon saved a life January 21st. There was this traffic accident. A driver lost consciousness and he just happened to be nearby. He performed CPR. By the time the ambulance actually showed up, the person who he had given CPR to had regained consciousness already. Everyone praised him as a hero, of course, but he had such a super humble response like, anyone in my shoes would have done the same thing. I was closer to the scene, what else could I do? I had to step in to help, etc. But just makes me think of him as more heroic when he says, don't call me a hero. Let's talk award shows now. Seoul Music Awards took place, and it was super exciting for NCTzens, because for the first time in their career, NCT 127 won a Daesang, the big grand prize. They also won a Bonsang, NCT Dream won Best Album, more exciting stuff, but wowzers, they won a Daesang. Taeyeon gave an acceptance speech that was so emotional for longtime fans because he referenced Messy Taeyeon referring to this nickname he got because his eye makeup ran as he cried during his Mama acceptance speech back in 2016, and for him referencing going from that to today's look, really emotional. The Bonsangs went to aespa, ATEEZ, The Boys, Brave Girls, BTS, ENHYPEN, Haze, IU, Kane Daniel, Lim Yeon-woon, NCT 127, Oh My Girl, and 17. BTS won World Best Artist, as well as U+ Idol Live Best Artist. EXO won the K-Wave Award. Lim Yeon-woon won the OST and Trot Awards. Best Performance went to Stacey and ENHYPEN. The R&B/Hip-Hop Award went to Hyuna. Side note, her and Dawn just announced a surprise engagement, and I'm so happy for them. Everything they've been through as a couple since 2018 has made me root for them more. Very excited about this. I hope they have a super unconventional, over-the-top wedding. That would be so them. Anyway, Wendy won the Ballad Award, IU won for Best Song, Lang Lee won Discovery of the Year, Jun Donha won the Special Jury Award, and Lee Moojin, Omega X, and EPEX all won Rookie of the Year. So many wins at the Gown Chart Awards. I'm not going to go through all of them, but super fast I will shout out some of the artists who won big. BTS, Lisa from Blackpink, Standing Egg, NCT Dream, IU, Lee Chanwon, Lim Yeon-woon, Lee Moojin, aespa, Stray Kids, Stacey, ENHYPEN, producer Ryan Jun, The Boys, Oh My Girl, and Justin Bieber won for Peaches for International Song of the Year. He also won the International Rising Star Award for his collab with the Kid Leroy, Stay. Here's something I really often don't say. In sports news, Andrew Wiggins seemingly became an NBA All-Star overnight thanks to Bam Bam. Bam Bam is the new global ambassador for the Golden State Warriors. All the press I've read does not specify much. The ones who have reached out asking for comment from the Warriors about what does that even mean, what does he do as a global ambassador, they haven't really gotten a response, just vague statements. So I don't know what their plan is, but if their plan is nothing substantive, just the title and the Twitter promo, that might actually be enough to do wonders, because after Bam Bam tweeted about Wiggins being one of the, quote, best two-way players, Wiggins reached 3rd place in the current vote count for Western Conference forwards, 1.8 million votes. Since tweets, retweets, and quote tweets all count in this all-star voting, and Bam Bam has 9.4 million Twitter followers. Speaking of online voting, the iHeartRadio Awards you can cast your votes for now. The new categories include Best Comeback Album and TikTok Songwriter of the Year. I have a lot of questions about these too. First of all, the word comeback just takes on a life of its own if you're a K-pop fan. I don't think they mean it in the way K-pop fans will interpret it, and I wonder if its usage will change actually regarding Western pop too. Maybe it'll lose some of its stigma as a term to describe musicians because of K-pop's impact. Don't doubt it. Second of all, I'd like to know specifically how you qualify for TikTok Songwriter of the Year. Because do they mean a song that it works really well on TikTok? A song that just originated there? A song that had a long overdue love after going viral on TikTok? If that one's the case, Meghan Trainor's title deserves. Is it just an artist who's from TikTok? It's just an interesting, ambiguous category. As of recording time, the event still plans to go ahead with an in-person audience, so you can go see the show if you want. Visit axs.com for more info. BTS are nominated for Best Fan Army, Best Duo/Group, and Best Music Video for Butter, not for Permission to Dance. Which I get all the love for Butter in these award shows, but it has not been the same for Permission to Dance, and frankly I think Permission to Dance has a way more fun, prize-worthy video. Also, just a side note, Olivia Rodrigo's Driver's License is nominated for Best Video, but not Good For You. Good For You is way more interesting. Really happy though that Jolene by Lil Nas X is nominated for Best Cover. Although no BTS in Best Cover, which seems like a missed opportunity. They could have put Fix You in there, or I'll Be Missing You, something. There is no K-pop song in the TikTok Bop of the Year category. My prediction is that in 2023, that will change. You can vote online at iHeartRadio.com/awards and via tweet with certain hashtags up until March 15th. Lots of rapid-fire headlines to cover today. Let's get into it. Soon Lee from Big Bang just had his sentence reduced to 1.5 years. It was actually 3 years. They cut it in half. The judge said this was the first time he was reported to have shown, quote, intent to reflect, unquote, so the show of remorse allowed his sentence to be cut. In 17 news, they joined the latest update to the Rhythm Hive game. They won a Bonsang at the 31st Seoul Music Awards. They kicked off a monthly set of Carat fan contests on Weverse. Seungkwan will appear on Super Junior D&E's radio show February 10th. And Power of Love is officially certified platinum in Japan, selling over 250,000 units in its first month of release. Monsta X rescheduled their tour that was set to start really soon, and now it's been pushed back to May 21st and into June 11th. All tickets will be honored for the new dates. Woosun was announced as the opening act for Epic High's upcoming USA tour. Really awesome choice. P1 Harmony announced a USA tour. It starts in February in Seoul, but then it comes to the USA March 11th in New York, then DC, Miami, Houston, Denver, San Jose, LA. Chicago one is March 20th. Check out Sub-K on social media, Sub-K Entertainment for more. There's also a massive 5-hour K-pop concert coming to Germany, May 14th at Deutsche Bank Park. This big 5-hour event will feature Mamamoo, G-Idol, Kai, AB6, NCT Dream, Monsta X, and ENHYPEN. South Korea's Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism, they have this overseas culture promotion agency that has revealed the 10 most influential people in South Korea at the moment. One of my favorite actresses, Son Hye-kyo, got 8th place. 7th, Parasite director Bong Joon-ho. Psy is number 6. Blackpink got 3rd. President Moon Jae-in number 2. And number 1, BTS. RBW Entertainment, home to Mamamoo, has acquired DSP Media, home to KARD. I specify them because not only are those the most well-known acts from those companies, arguably, but can you picture like a KARD, egotistic era vibes, Mamamoo collab? Yes, please. So now, DSP Media is a subsidiary of RBW. This comes right after RBW also made WM Entertainment its subsidiary. So now RBW Entertainment owns the rights to songs from Kara, Finkel, Rainbow, Oh My Girl, Mamamoo, Purple Kiss, ONF, On and Off, B1A4, KARD, Murray, so many artists. An interesting clarification, RBW issued a statement mentioning that this acquisition is in part for them to expand their content in the metaverse. I translate that to mean they want more music intellectual property rights for NFT's sake. I kind of hope I'm wrong there, but that seems to be what they're going for. Meanwhile, in China, the latest on their entertainment industry alterations we talked about in the episode called Crown in K-Pod Save the World. The latest is that producers will now be required by law to label dual citizens on credits. Their foreign nationalities will have to be on the screen to basically disincentivize putting dual citizens on TV. This actually has been something producers willingly do anyway. It's pretty common, but it's the first time it's required by law ever. The ruling takes effect April 1st. Oddly, April Fool's Day. In TV news, Girls' Generation's Taeyeon is hosting Queendom Season 2. It officially premieres March 31st. And Jisoo's show Snowdrop is coming to Disney Plus in the USA, February 9th. April has disbanded after 6 years together. MJ from Astro is taking a break from activities for unspecified health reasons. Vivi's announced their fan club name, Navi, Na meaning me in Korean. ATEEZ are set to be interviewed at the Grammy Museum in LA, February 8th. Sori performed at the Grammy Global Spin event, the first Korean female artist to ever do so. BTS and Kai separately made Rolling Stone's list of the 25 most stylish musicians at the moment. Yes, yes, yes to that. Who else deserved to be on the most stylish artists at the moment list? Which K-pop or C-pop or J-pop acts would you have added? I'll make that the question of the day on this episode. I'm leaning towards Tiffany Yun. Jun Yeonhwa from CNBLUE started his own YouTube channel. Sun John from Infinite has left Willem Entertainment after 13 years with them. 3 members of U-KISS have signed to a new agency together with Tango Music. This year's South by Southwest music lineup includes Woo, Kugi, Sogum, Davida, and DJ Wegan. June from Ace enlisted in the military, or is enlisting in the military, depending on when this episode comes out, February 7th. Former FT Island member Oh Won-bin is getting married and expecting a child. IVE performed at the Beijing Olympics South Korean team launch ceremony, which is huge. Ghost 9 played the UCLA Bruins men's basketball game halftime show January 29th. There's a BTS version of Wordle, because of course there is. Shout out to @BTS chart data for it. You can play yourself at bts-wordle.vercel.app. Meanwhile, BTS's Dynamite Grammy performance looks sold at the Music Cares auction for $160K. That's interesting because their Dynamite music video looks sold at the same auction for $162.5K. $2.5K less valuable to get their performance looks as opposed to their video looks. Exciting updates for Taeyeon. His SoundCloud surpassed 29 million total streams, and he surpassed 2 million Spotify monthly listeners. Plus, the Zoo Challenge hashtag has now been viewed over 150 million times on TikTok. J-pop star Nissi has surpassed 3 million total YouTube views. 101's Beautiful Part 3 single topped iTunes in 14 regions. Pentagon's new album topped iTunes in 30 regions, as did Bam Bam's B. Taeyeon's song Can't Control Myself topped iTunes in 14 regions. Moonbyul's album in 20 regions. Plus, it sold 10K more copies in the same time frame as her previous album. Wheelin's new album, We, surpassed 55,000 copies in its first 3 days, which is also over 10K more than her last album in the same amount of time. Treasure's upcoming album surpassed 600,000 pre-orders, nearly double their previous record. ATEEZ's new song Don't Stop topped iTunes in 9 regions. Real's video for Boy reached 1 million views, reaching 20 million views, but rapidly growing, so as of recording time, just 20 million, could be way more by now. Pentagon's Feeling Like, 100 million on Lion by G-Idol, and Some by Bull 4, the first Bull 4 song to reach that. 200 million views on aespa's Next Level, and Twice's The Feels. 300 million views on Stray Kids' God's Menu, 400 million on Twice's I Can't Stop Me, 500 million Big Bang's Fantastic Baby, 1.4 billion BTS's DNA, 1.5 billion Blackpink's Kill This Love, 1.8 billion Blackpink's Do 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 Do, and lastly, RM surpassed 650 million Spotify streams solo. While I still have your attention, I do have a quick action item for you today. Today it is just to mark your calendars and get ready for an upcoming PBS documentary coming out this May. I just want to keep this on your radar. Part of this big public media reporting initiative. The initiative is called Exploring Hate, Anti-Semitism, Racism, and Extremism, is behind this documentary called One Day in March. And One Day in March is part of this bigger project about anti-Semitism, racism, their history of being intertwined, and different versions of the same hateful concept, really. And the documentary will focus on the Atlanta spa shootings and other anti-Asian hate crimes that have been on the rise. So different types of hate in America will be explored, so I encourage you to watch when that comes out. It's called One Day in March. It's on the way, and it sounds very important and informative. Alright, that is all for me today. Thank you guys so much for listening as always, and I will talk to you all again very, very soon. Bye everyone.